Good morning, YouTube. All right, guys.
Morning.
So we just had breakfast with Talon and Alyssa, and now we're on our way to Fort Lauderdale. Map says 5 hours and 18 minutes, not the shortest route. We're gonna do a little bit of back roads up here through the Jacksonville area to miss the Jacksonville traffic. So it does take a little longer, but I'm not sitting in traffic. So anyways, it looks like it's gonna join us back up with I-95 a little bit north of Daytona Beach someplace. I didn't really look at it enough close to detail. We're just going to follow the GPS and let it take us where it wants to take us. Alright guys, so we have made it onto Interstate 95 southbound. Still says 290 miles until we exit, so we've got a good ways to go still. We are not as close to Daytona Beach as I thought. We're still 62 miles from Daytona Beach, so we're still up there, that St. Augustine kind of area. But we're on our way. We're headed south. I don't know there's going to be a whole lot to film from here on out, but we'll see. Alright guys, we are down by the Cocoa Beach area here, just off of I-95. We stopped to get some fuel. It wasn't half bad priced, and we wanted some coffee and we wanted to bleed, but I just realized fuel price is $3.89, which for a pilot is pretty good. As I'm filling up, I realized it's a biodiesel blend, and that's why it's always cheaper. It's usually not as good as standard number 2. We'll see how the mileage goes down. We've actually been getting pretty darn good fuel mileage on this trip, so we'll see if this affects it some as we go down a little bit further. All right, now we didn't actually need fuel at the moment. We still had half a tank, but I needed coffee and we needed to pee. So this is just where we chose to stop. We've only gone a little over 100 miles, but by getting the fuel here, I know I won't need fuel again for the rest of the day. And then when we get off of the cruise ship next week, I should still have about half a tank or so to get out of the Fort Lauderdale, Miami area, so that I don't have to deal with all that down there. All right, so traffic really hasn't been very bad today. You know, when we were still in the Jacksonville, Orange Park, Green Cove Springs area, there was some, but it wasn't terrible. But once we got on the interstate, it's actually been pretty good. Got the cruise control set at about 73 mile an hour, and on occasion I get change lanes, go around somebody, and every once in a while I gotta tap the brake, you know, to be able to make my maneuver if I come up on something too quick. But for the most part, it's flowing pretty good. Now earlier, there was a notification that Maps told us that like 230 miles ahead, there was a road closure, but that's so far ahead that we're not even worried about it yet. It could all be taken care of by the time we get there. Of course, it said we're still on the fastest route. And I am a little curious to see whether this biodiesel changes our fuel mileage, because I did some testing yesterday, actually. About halfway through Georgia, I decided to reset my average fuel mileage meter. And if I'm not mistaken, it's the first time I've reset it since we did the trip back from New York last year with the tractor. And if I remember correctly, when I reset it, it was at like 16.5 miles average. Now that's for the last year around town driving, all that other stuff. So at highway speed, it was about 22 miles per gallon, doing pretty well. When we went through Waycross yesterday, that mileage had dropped down considerably. It got down into the 17s because there was a lot of stop and go through there. But then afterwards, once we got back up to speed and we ended up in the Jacksonville area and got, you know, a few more miles on it, we were back up into that 19.5, 19.8 by the time we met with the kids for dinner last night. Now this morning, obviously driving through some of the back roads and stop and go, it dropped a little bit. And when we stopped here, I completely forgot to look and see what it was before we fueled up. So if I remember when we get back out to the truck, I'll check that in just a moment. All right, guys, back in the truck, ready to hit the road again. And right now, the fuel mileage is at an even 19.0. And I'm sure that's going to drop a little bit as I accelerate to get back on the interstate. But, so not terribly bad. Hi guys, stopping one more time here. I don't even know where we're at. Katie just had to pee, so we whipped off real quick. So we're down somewhere by, I think just south of Jupiter, Del Rey, something like that. We are only 50 miles from the hotel, which is right at the port there in Fort Lauderdale. So this will probably be our last stop. Traffic's definitely picking up, but everything's still moving pretty good. All right, guys, just a quick stop this time and back on the road. We are almost to our destination for the day. Woo-hoo! And we're very thankful that this place we stopped had really clean bathrooms. All right, guys, we're almost there. We are 0.8 miles from our exit, and then we're only about 8.1 miles from our hotel. But as you see, there was that accident there, and Katie says that that's the same one they were showing hours ago when they said that the highway was closed. So there's still something there. So unfortunately, it's very likely that maybe somebody lost their life there if they're still there trying to clean that up, and they had like an investigation truck or something there too. So that's unfortunate. But luckily for us, the road is not closed, but we did hit some slow down traffic, time-lapsing all that as well. Hilton, right next to the cruise terminal. I'm gonna go check in and go check out this room. All right, well, this is our room here at the Hilton. We've got a, it's water view, but it's like a canal. So this isn't the main harbor canal. In fact, if you look behind me here, you'll see the taller building right there. Just the other side of that building is the main part of the marina or the harbor. This is Port Everglades is where we're at. But it's still a pretty nice view for a room here. All right, guys, so I went over to the other wing of the hotel. We're in the wing that's only got 4 floors. This wing over here has 14, well, technically 13, because there is no 13. But here you get a little bit better view. You're higher up. This is the main channel coming into the marina. And it's really pretty from here. And of course, you can see downtown Fort Lauderdale right over there. And of course, if you look all the way over there, you can see the Atlantic. Alright guys, so now I'm back down at the ground level on the actual port side. And man, there are some big boats out here, and I mean private boats. Now this one, some kind of crazy big yacht, and it looks a little less than private. But it is gorgeous. Because it is just shortly after 4 o'clock, there is a cruise ship pulling out over on the other side of the road. So we'll see if we can get a good vantage point and check that out. Hey guys, check this machine out here. It's awesome. Guys, and here's the causeway going over, and we got a little water taxi. And then over there, off to the side, there is one of the celebrity cruises, I believe, heading out. All right, there goes that celebrity ship right there. And as you can see, there's another cruise ship right over there. And there's actually one right there too. You just can't see it because there's construction in the way. Alright guys, check that ship over there out. There's a bay door on the side, and there's another boat that goes in and out through the side. So the Hilton is definitely a little swankier than my taste. This room cost us $300 for the night. That's with all the taxes and fees. We looked online, and this room is normally like $599 a night, so it's $200 cheaper than it usually is. There's no way I would have paid $600 for a room. No, that's $300 cheaper. Yeah, I'm not a good mather, remember? But there's no way I would have paid $600 a night. I would have found a hotel further away. But I wanted to be close to the port so that in the morning there's no slowdowns, no delays, none of that stuff. Just quick and easy, get on the ship. And I will say, the Hampton Inn that we stayed at last night was actually very nice, especially for the price. With the taxes and everything included, that one was only like $178. So it was still a lot cheaper than some of the dumps that we stayed in Oregon and California when we were out there. Remember, a lot of those rooms were over $200 a night, and they were crappy. At least the Hampton, it was really, really nice. The staff was really nice. And it had a real hot breakfast this morning, which we didn't eat because we met Talon and Alyssa at Grumpy's instead. And if you guys are curious, I'm out walking around by myself because Katie wanted to rest for a few minutes, so she's over there in her hotel taking a nap. Alright guys, so I found this parking garage just opposite of our hotel. It's our hotel. Oh no, our hotel's over there, I think. So I figured I'd come up to the 6th floor and see if we can get a better view. And it looks like there's another cruise ship pulling out of the port as we speak. Yep, there we go. It's a Royal Caribbean ship headed out to sea. And as that Royal is exiting the port right there, you look over this way, you can still see the one that we filmed going out a minute ago, right out there. It's kind of weird being in a cruise terminal all by yourself, nobody else here. It's almost like VIP status. The lights all come on for me when I get to a certain point. And no, guys, I didn't break in. This is actually like a public area to get you from the parking garages to the terminal. I'm coming back. I went from the terminal back to the parking garage. Yeah, I'm just exploring. Alright, so somehow I've ended up in a completely different parking garage than the one I just filmed the ships leaving the harbor on. And here the walls are kind of tall, we won't see much there, but I'm not sure which parking garage you're supposed to park in. Now this one has cars in it. I'm on the upper level, so it's still kind of empty. But the levels below me look like there's a bunch of cars on it still. So this may be for a cruise ship that just left. Maybe the empty one I walked into the first time is where I'm supposed to park tomorrow, because there's no cars there. So the ship's leaving tomorrow. You think that an empty parking garage. We'll see. All right, guys, so I think I'm kind of figuring this out. So I think that's the parking garage I was originally in right there. But I went through one of those other elevators, and then I came through this like crosswalk thingy up here into this garage. Now this building has got Disney logos all over it, and there is a Disney terminal there. So I think that I just went to the Disney parking garage instead of the Princess one. All right, guys, it's now about 5:45, and I have thoroughly walked this place. I have a plan now at how I'm gonna get in here in the morning and which way I'm gonna go, because this road right here, I think the majority of the traffic's gonna be coming in from this direction. They're gonna be making the left-hand turn in to come down on the other side of this little causeway above me. But from our hotel, I can come down this road behind the convention center. It winds through, brings me up here to this little loopy-loop right there, and then I can loop it right around this way. Or if the causeway's open, I can take the causeway. But a minute ago, the causeway was closed on this end, but it just loops around and dumps back down where this one dumps as well, but a little bit closer. And that's kind of the reason I decided to walk this first and get a hotel that was close, because looking at it on the maps, trying to plan my trip, and guys, remember, I'm a driver. I try to plan all my trips so I know where I'm going. It's confusing here because there's multiple parking garages. And in fact, there's one entrance, and then there's a parking garage for the convention center, which is right here. There's a parking garage for the Princess Terminal, and then there's a parking garage for the Disney Terminal. And I now have that all figured out, so I know exactly which way I'm going, so I don't end up going to the wrong place and having to turn around and back up, and just trying to make it simple. So tomorrow morning, I'll be coming from this way, coming out around here. And if this is open, which right now it's not, and go up this ramp, it literally just loops around and comes back around and ends up right back at this level, but on the other side of this entry ramp. So it doesn't actually take you up. So it doesn't actually take you up to another level. It just loops you up and around the incoming traffic and back down again. This ramp right here goes up to this level here, and it's strictly for convention center parking. And on the other side, before this comes back down, there's a spot to turn off to the right to go to the Disney parking. So if I come in, if I can take the ramp, I'll take the ramp. It'll bring me right into Princess only parking. If this ramp is still closed in the morning, I'll just go this way through here. And at the other end of that, I can loop around and it still brings me right down over this way. So all in all, I got to figure it out. And then basically it's going to bring us in right over there. And there's a lane you can loop through, drop off your luggage, and then park. And then just walk into the terminal, which is right there. All right, and just as I was getting ready to head back to the hotel, I can see that which I think that's a Celebrity cruise ship, it's moving and it's all lit up, looking nice and pretty. Horns are blowing. I guess it's getting ready to pull out. All right, well, I guess it's not moving yet. I was moving, so I thought it was moving, but it did blow its horn, so I have a feeling it's getting ready to head out. You know, and actually there is one more thing that confuses me. So I see the direction I'm going to come through here. You can see they've got all these barricades and stuff set up over here. They've got this lane set up for baggage drop off. I know that because there's a sign down there that says baggage drop off. They've got these U-turn logos on the wall up here telling you to do U-turn to exit and go to cruise parking. So the thing is, the parking garage that's above us, you can't get to from down here. There's no ramp to get there. You have to exit and then go back up. But the ramp that goes up to it says convention center parking only, no cruise parking. So I don't know where the actual parking is. But I thought I did. Now I don't. All right, I don't know why I'm telling you guys all this. Maybe I'm just making a long video. Maybe I won't leave any of this in, but I'm just working it out through my head. So this right here, where it says do not enter, this is where the lane would come in from the street. I can see they got it all coned off. It loops around there to the very front of the terminal. Then comes through here. There's a sign there that clearly says baggage drop off. And then it loops you down that way, loops you around, goes back here. And then this right here is the only exit. Right there is the only exit, which brings you back into the loop I said I was going to come in on. So I don't know where I'm actually going to park. Well, I guess there's just a certain element of surprise that I'm going to have to wait till tomorrow morning to figure out. But like I said, it's 6 o'clock now, so I'm gonna head back to the room, see if Katie has decided what she wants to do for dinner, and relax for the rest of the night. All right, guys, I went back and got Katie, and we decided for dinner, Five Guys. Now, we drove over here not realizing how close it was, but we could have actually walked over here as well. And the Publix is right behind us. We got to pick up a couple things that we want to take with us on the cruise, but that we didn't want to have in the truck driving all the way down here, like some coffee creamer or stuff like that. So we'll do that. There's a fridge in the hotel room. And I think I got the parking the rest of the way figured out. Remember the ramp loop that looped around? Well, what I couldn't see at first is that at the top of that, there's a spot where we can turn off and go into that parking garage that moving sidewalk took me to. So yeah, we loop through like I said, but then we get onto that ramp that I said that I might pick when we get there. But I think I got it all figured out now for sure. Fingers crossed, we'll find out in the morning. All right, guys, back at the Hilton after a wonderful dinner and getting our shopping done at Publix. But I think that's going to be it for this video. So I want to thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Until next time we see you, keep those in. What she said, I don't know if you heard her in the background, but yeah, we board the cruise ship. Tomorrow is embarkation day, and we'll do a video on that as well. But then we'll probably wait a couple more days, get a few more videos out. I've got a couple already scheduled for you.